The homotheticity property that we developed in graph 5.4 is one special case of how indifference curves might relate to one another. Another special case involves what we will call quasi-linear tastes, which we develop here. In this example, we'll put cans of Coke on the horizontal axis and the composite good dollars of other consumption on the vertical axis. And we'll start with the consumption bundle A, where I have 25 cans of Coke and $500 worth of other goods consumption. We'll begin with the indifference curve that passes through bundle A and assume that it has a slope of -1 at bundle A. Thus my marginal rate of substitution at bundle A is -1, implying that I'm willing to give up $1 of other goods consumption to get one more can of Coke. Or in other words, I'm willing to pay $1 for additional Coke, given that I have 25 cans and $500 worth of other goods consumption. When we developed the homotheticity property, we now doubled bundle A to get to bundle B. In our case, this would now mean that at bundle B I have $1,000 worth of other goods consumption and 50 cans of Coke, and if my tastes were still homothetic, it would imply that the marginal rate of substitution at B is the same as it was at A. In other words, we would have to assume that I'm still willing to pay $1 for an additional can of Coke when I have 50 Cokes and $1,000 in other goods consumption, just as I was willing to pay $1 for the 26th can of Coke when I had $500 worth of other goods consumption. While this might have seemed reasonable in the case of pants and shirts, it doesn't strike me as reasonable here. There's only so much Coke that I want to consume, and just because you doubled my other goods consumption doesn't mean that the value I place on the 51st can of Coke will now be the same as the value I previously placed on the 26th can of Coke. It seems more likely to me that my marginal rate of substitution for Coke will have decreased in absolute value once we get to bundle B. In other words, I'm not going to be willing to pay as much for Coke at bundle B as I am at bundle A because I already have twice as much Coke as I did before. So instead of comparing bundle B to bundle A, we'll draw a new bundle C where we've doubled my other goods consumption but kept my Coke consumption at 25 cans. I'm the kind of person who's going to be willing to pay the same amount for the 26th can of Coke whether I have $500 or $1,000 in other goods consumption. In other words, if I get a raise at the office, I'm not going to change the willingness I have to pay for an additional can of Coke. If that's indeed the case, then my marginal rate of substitution at bundle C will be the same as it was at bundle A. And if this is true generally for me, then any change in my other goods consumption will not change my marginal willingness to pay for additional Coke. So my marginal rate of substitution will be the same along any vertical line that I draw in my graph. This is not the homotheticity property, where my marginal rate of substitution will be the same along any ray from the origin. Rather now, the marginal rate of substitution depends only on the amount of Coke that I'm already consuming, and has nothing to do with how much in other goods I'm already consuming.